Hey Jacob, this is Keaton Everett with ABC, going over your pitching video from camp. I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about your mechanics, talk about your delivery, and just, for your age, just to be aware of sort of what we need to be, what our body needs to do, and we just got to get to a point of using more lower half and just using more body instead of arm. At your age, it's just tough because it's such a hard thing to do physically. That just kind of to get the understanding of everything. So as you get older and stronger, it'll get a little bit easier. But your upper body and your basis of your motion and delivery are real solid. All right, so you have a good base, a good foundation to work off of. Now it's just a matter of just sort of understanding mechanics a little bit more to get yourself really maximizing that body. All right, because everything else is pretty good. We'll go through and talk a little bit about that too. All right. So now, basically the first thing I kind of want to point out is, even though it's flat ground, it's grass, you're just getting videotape. It's not a game. Treat every pitch like you would, or every throw like you would an actual pitch in a game. All right. So you can see here, you kind of get the ball, kind of looking at the camera, and just kind of walk and step, and then throw. All right. Here's your other one. You get the ball. Just kind of step into it and throw. So I know it's kind of tough to get that focus of it's not a game and all, but just treat every time, even when you're playing catch in the backyard, anytime you're just doing anything pitching related, we got to try to recreate our pitching motion as much as possible. All right, so pretend there's a mound here, pretend there's a hitter, pretend there's an umpire there, and that'll just help you out a lot more. All right. So now what we look at is the height of our leg kick. All right. So basically I was talking about lower body for you. All right. We need to get to a point of balance. All right. So we got to get to, and what I mean by balance point is the height of your leg kick, which is right here for you. This is your balance point. All right. So what I mean by that is, heads over your back foot. All right. At balance point, what we need to see is ball in the glove, hips closed off, so knee back over here. So ideally, at your balance point, you're going to see your hands right here. All right. You're going to see that, that. I'm not saying that's where your elbows have to be, but your hands are together, right? Your back foot's here, and now this front knee is going to go back over here somewhere. All right, so you're going to look like this with your lower body. That's going to close our hips off to drive our hips, because that's the driving force, that's the engine, that's where our velocity comes from, is hips. So we got to make sure they're leading down the mound, and right here you can see your foot's leading. Your foot's out in front of your hip, but we want hip out in front of your foot. All right, so that's just that initial setup. So just work on come and set. All right. Then just work on getting that knee back. Just think about taking it back right up over that back leg, and just hold that position. Try to balance there with your glove over your belly button, your belt, underneath your chest, somewhere there, hands together, and just do that a bunch of times to get that feel of that timing. All right, we'll go and look and see if there's a little bit better one, a little bit better balance point for you. All right, again, you can see initially that front foot, its first movement's out there. All right. And then let's go back and look at this other one. You can see the same thing. You just step, and that foot's going forward. All right, so you just got to rethink that lower body. We got to think foot coming and knee coming back this way to get our hips closed. All right, so we want hips closed and then hips leading down the mound. All right, and again, hands set somewhere around that belly button, that belt. So now what we're going to start seeing is, you're going to start seeing more drive in that back leg. You're going to see this back leg, back knee sort of start to turn down, because that energy, that power is sort of wanting to go forward. We're going to see, your foot somewhere right here, because we're saying again, the hips are trying to lead, so that heel's staying closed. This hasn't popped back that hip yet. So now you're able to generate a little bit more power. All right, so that's just what I mean by leading with the hips. We just want to get the hips closed and drive them as quick and as far down the mound as we can. All right. So then at foot strike, you're doing a pretty good job at getting out there. You're striding out front real well, and you can see that knee starting to come down here. All right, so you're doing a good job of getting there. Now it's just a matter of storing up more energy and getting staying closed a lot longer. So that initial setup's going to be big for you. All right, now and especially as you get older. But the more we can keep closed, if you're drawing a line from that back foot to the catcher, we should be landing somewhere around that line. It looks like you might be off a little bit. It's kind of tough to see from this angle, but you just want to stay closed. Let your hips lead. Let your hips do the work. All right. And so now at foot strike. So we look at foot strike. So that front foot first hits the ground right here. All right. You got a pretty good idea of this lower half right here. You got that back foot turning over. You can see it rotating over. A little bit ahead of that shoulder. We want to try to see it rotate first forward, and then that shoulder comes through. That's that hip-shoulder separation, that torque. And that comes as you get older, a little bit stronger. But the biggest thing that will help you out is you can see this glove is starting to pop out of that picture. So all that's doing is that's leaking your front side, and that's leaking energy that's stored up in your hips. So try to get to a point where this front glove's staying out over that front foot a little bit more. So as you're getting through that motion, that glove gets up a little bit, get that elbow up a little bit higher to shoulder height. See how it never gets to shoulder? That elbow just kind of stays down. So try to get it up to shoulder height, and then get that glove out there, and then all you're doing is rotating that elbow down and keeping that glove out front. So then you rotate down, and that's going to get you farther out over your front foot. So when you release, all right, you're releasing right here. All right, you can see how you're almost standing straight up. You got this bend kind of in your knee. All right, at this release point, we want to try to see your head over your front foot. So right now, your head's sort of midline of your body. We want to try to get that head and that chest down over that front foot. So now that's going to create more of this angle. So to get to that point, you're going to have to use more legs, more body, more back. All right, so now you're getting down over that front foot. Now that ball's getting released down here somewhere, and you're getting that angle down. You can see how here it's just kind of like your hands are almost underneath the ball, kind of throwing the ball up. So we got to get to that point where you're still driving, so those hands are on top of the ball, driving the ball down through that front side. All right, and that's just a legs issue, it's strength issue. But for you, it's just important to get that initial timing. Come set, hands together. Bring that knee and that foot back up over that back foot. So bring that left foot, that left knee, just diagonally back over that back right foot and knee, and just hold that position. Get that sense of that timing, that balance point, and then get that feel of breaking your hands and just letting those hips lead down the mound as much as you can. But again, the foundation's there. Everything's pretty solid. Now it's just a matter of using those legs. All right. So hopefully you had a good time at camp. Thanks for making it out. We look forward to seeing you again with ABC.